Hi, the name is Laird, and I'd like to talk to you about an ongoing project I've had for a number of years now. And there's an awful lot of technical details and some stuff I would like to go through in the video. I know it could maybe get a little bit long or them sort of things, and if there's any questions, just jot them in the thing down below, and I'll see if I can get back to you and answer them. This started off is a project to build a competitive Model 3 bike. And basically, to finish off a patent that I had started way back 2009, 2011 era. And the idea was as far back as 2005. And it was basically for a three stroke motor, which is a whole different generation of motor, which we'll get into. And we can discuss in a lot greater detail. But first of all, I want to show you where this bike would have started. It started out as a frame because I actually have got three of these. I've built them over the years. In the UK, it's known as a power valve frame. In North America, it would have been an RZ frame, the 1986, 1990 model. And basically, I took the whole rear end of it, strengthened it, and basically upgraded it where it needed to be. As I told you, this particular frame that you're seeing is actually destined for an MC 2128 swing arm. Can fit into that, and I also have a bigger 400 RZ that some have seen. And basically, we'll move back to this the Model 3. The Model 3, as you see, that frame, basically, this is almost a duplicate of it with the actual subframe and stuff. The reason why I built the subframe like this is because I had an incident on a modern 125 where, in fact, the square chubbing that was in here, it broke. It broke at 130 mile an hour and snapped right in half. And it would basically got to the stage where people can do FEMAs and all them sort of things. But in real life situation, the stress and stuff sometimes are not calculated right by the softwares, and they fail. And that's the long and short of it. So what I did is I actually took just, I think it was 1 inch square, and then that was all milled out where I wanted to lighten it and take all the weight out of it. But it's actually very, very, very strong. I know they've went to carbon fiber and all that stuff. There's a whole tile of things, but that was one part. The next is the way I did the shock mount on the older RS 125s, 87 till 94s. The shock used to be through the center on the TZ Yamahas, and they could do up to 150, 160 mile an hour on the 350s. And you know what? I never had a problem with the handling, to be honest. And an awful lot of them ones has gone like this instead of rising rate. My other, this other system on that will have a rising rate, but this one's not. And I based it around an R6 rear shock so I can just upgrade that to an Owens. Then the next thing I did is probably first off, I haven't seen it, but if I move around to this side, I'll show you. And it's a 4-part swing arm, but it's actually got no welds. And there's tons of reasons for that. If you look down into the bottom, you can see them are wheel bearings. It's double wheel bearinged on either side to remove any stiction. The next is it's got a center support that, when money allows, that can be turned into a torsion bar where you can increase or decrease stiffness of the swing arm. That's really important because even today some of the top teams are changing out swing arms because for different tracks because of the rigidity and stuff, and it's to get the power to the ground. So this one was lightened out, but there is a really funny story with this. Anybody I worked on the Viper projects, Hemis, the big guys, the V10s, and what it was, or 10 cylinder, when you do bore the cylinders, you have to put keeper plates on the top of the cylinders, and it ends up being the keeper plates, and then you bolt them down to torque, and then you bore out the cylinders. It's to keep them under stress when you're boring the cylinders. And so to make them keeper plates, we had to bring in, it was like 28 inches by 8 inches by 2 inches, and that was solid aluminium blocks. And we brought in like 200 at the time, but they ended up only using maybe 50. So I took a couple of them and machined these out of it. And they were done from solid. Billet, removed where I can, eventually lightened up. And that's the story with the swing arm. I've had the bike on track, and to be quite honest, I didn't find any problem with it. It worked the way it was supposed to do. It put the power down the way it was supposed to. And then, as I said, a wee Vortex rear sprocket. That was an F2 wheel. All them things can be upgraded in the future. The same as these here very common ZX 636. You know, you wouldn't make these. These here come at $100 or something, or at that time was $100 or something landed. So really, I wouldn't make them for that. And really, really good. They've got they've got the bearings, everything, and fully adjustable. Then we move into, as I said, there's the frame. A lot of wiring in this stage, and the ECU, if we want to talk about that. So that's an MS2 extra, M3 extra, and our microsquirt, and that's my fuse box. I did all the stuff to their wiring diagram at the time. You know, I have to say that I went through two systems. I went through Ecotrons was another one, and it was very, very difficult to get it to work at all. And then the MS3, there's been a lot of problems trying to understand what they've done on the software and the reasons why they've done it. But I eventually got there and got it to run. But there is a big problem, and it's down here. It's the VR sensors in here, a variable reluctance, and I've ended up putting, you know, I put resistors in it, I jumped the board, I did all them things, and what it boils down to, that's got a sinusoidal wave, it doesn't have a square wave, because it's AC coming out of there, so I need to get that turned into a square wave, and I've ordered that conditioner. It's a VR conditioner. I've ordered it out in New Mexico, so it's coming. And when I get that, hopefully it'll take away the missed sinks from the system. It seems to be an inherent issue with that